It's Pat from Seattle Coffee Gear, and I am here with Jake today to talk about our roast of the month for this month, which is going to be Bluebeard Coffee Roasters Ethiopia Chelbasa Danche, which I think is the correct way to say that. Feel free to correct me below if I'm if I'm saying the name wrong.
Yeah. Bluebeard's. This is a washed coffee
Hmm.
from Ethiopia, and one of the most exciting things that we found in this coffee is it hits on some really big melon notes without being too over the top with it. And we found that it just has a nice balanced sweetness along with those melon notes, which provides like a really awesome cup.
Yeah. I think that you know, typically when I have this is a Yirgacheffe coffee, which again is a word that I think I say correctly, but I haven't had anyone correct me yet. But maybe people are just being too nice. But coffees from this region, I typically associate with some pretty like strong flavors, whether it's
Mhm.
a lot of richness or something that's really bright, just things that are on the kind of heavier side flavor wise that have a really kind of unique profile that for like new coffee drinkers might be a lot to take in. Whereas this one, and that comes from, in a lot of cases, those coffees are a natural process, which is part of where that comes from. So natural process coffees tend to have, more challenging, stronger flavors.
Mhm.
Whereas this one does provide a pretty solid balance with those melon notes and a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of brightness from that mandarin note, but nothing too heavy in any direction.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a pretty approachable cup, especially for being such a high elevation coffee as it is. And I know we've been looking at elevation a lot more recently. I think you talked about it in a recent podcast. Is that right, Pat?
Yeah, that's correct. So it's something that obviously, I've always looked at. I've always had a kind of a understanding of elevation, but it's not something that I've put a lot of thought into talking about through our content, and that's something I'm
Hmm.
kind of trying to talk about more this year. And we had a really great podcast episode, which if you have not listened to the podcast yet, you should go give it a listen. It's available wherever podcasts are downloadable. But Ariel and I had a really great conversation about the kind of process of producing coffee, farming, and more about the beans themselves. And we talked about elevation and the reason that coffees that are grown at higher elevations are perceived as higher quality is that higher elevation gets temperature low enough that it causes the beans to mature slower and develop a more complex set of flavors, while still being in, getting the proper amount of sunlight, the proper amount of rain, and not getting down into freezing temperatures, which can kill the coffee plant. So that's kind of why elevation is something that's listed and talked about. And here, this is a really good coffee to try to see how that higher elevation can bring about complexity and really give you that more developed flavor profile.
Yeah, absolutely. And this coffee specifically is grown. It's right around 2 kilometers. And for a lot of us here at sea level here in Seattle, that's really high. And
Mm-hmm.
it definitely shines. You can see where that quality difference comes just in the tasting of the cup. And even when you open these beans, they smell really great. And when you get those notes, you know it's just um, a really nice single origin.
Yep. Yeah. Really delicious, and the farms themselves. There's about 476 smallhold farms located around the Chelbasa village,
Hmm.
which is the where the coffee gets its name from. And so we would still call it a single origin because it's from one specific set of farms in one specific area, but a bunch of different individual farmers holding land in small quantities around this village, which is really cool to see. It's fun to learn about the stories of coffee that are coming from kind of collectives of growers like this.
Hmm.
So that's really cool as well to sort of learn that story. So yeah, I don't know. It's a really delicious coffee. I really enjoy it, and I think you will too. And make sure you get it ASAP because it will not be around for forever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, these single origins they tend to last only a short time because the lots are pretty small. So Definitely get it as soon as you can if you're looking to try it. And I find that this one really shines in a pour over. You get those notes front and center,
Yep.
and it makes an okay drip, but yeah, pour over is where I found that it really shines.
Yep, I agree. I think that it could also be a pretty tasty cold brew as well, because it has some notes that are really good for that I think could turn out really good with the melon and mandarin,
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit of sweetness from the brown sugar. I think when we were talking about it before, you mentioned maybe doing a hot bloom to
Yeah.
kind of start the extraction process and then continue with the standard cold brew process, and that I think that would be pretty tasty.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I think a hot bloom will really start getting some of those notes out, because it is a bit lighter of a roast. So anything you can do to
Yeah,
yield higher extraction, always going to be a good thing.
yeah, definitely. All right, well, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for joining us, and make sure you check this coffee out as soon as you can. If you like this video, hit the like button and get subscribed, or stay subscribed if you already are, to get a ton more videos. We have a lot of cool stuff coming out over the next few months, so we're really excited to share it with you. Thanks for joining me, Jake,
Yeah, thank you, Pat.
and thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you soon.